Guys, the Dark Master here, back again for the pre-ultimate episode in the Answers Marathon. This time it is reasonable questions for anti-SJWs. Now, I'm not inherently against social justice warriors as some people are. I do have my issues with them, and I will be attempting to answer their quote-unquote reasonable questions. And now, I'm going to try and remain respectful throughout this video, and I would really appreciate any feedback social justice warriors can give on this video, just because I'm always open for feedback and, trying to be a nice guy. Anyway, let's continue and start the video. Ha ha ha. Okay, that's a lie. Nothing can make BuzzFeed look good. But I will agree, this video so far is better than BuzzFeed at least. Anyway, let's listen to their reasonable questions.
Are you able to understand the irony of responding to the perceived political correctness of the left with exasperated reactionary hypersensitivity of your own?
I think you miss a crucial difference, some black guy. The difference is that, for the most part, anti-social justice warriors have exacerbated reactions for entertainment. They don't actually feel like that. They're more of a, it's like an entertainment thing. So, and I mean, granted, there are some people who truly are as sensitive as like Steve Shives, AIU, Nightmare Fuel, those kind of people, but it's not the norm. When social justice warriors do this, they're intentionally getting upset. They're intentionally being triggered. That's a difference, and I think it's kind of dishonest not to mention that. But anyway, next up is H. Bomber Guy, the quote-unquote humor of this video.
Skulls.
Skulls are awesome, apparently. I mean, there's a whole line of villains named after skulls. Skull Grinder, Skull Basher, Skull Slicer, Skull Scorpio, Skull Spiders. Skulls are cool, and what's up with you guys doxing people? Just curious.
How do you define right-wing? Anti-SJWs often have an aversion to being labeled as right-wing, yet they regularly defend the right and bash the left. Therefore, why is being labeled right-wing a bad thing to you?
I define right-wing as conservative, kind of like left of, right of center. That's how I define right-wing. Kind of like Republicans. That's right-wing to me. And I take issue with it because I'm not generally right-wing. I believe in drug rights. I believe in, gun rights. I mean, that's kind of right-wing, but not really. So, it's not accurate. That's why we don't like being called right-wing, because it's not accurate. Now, Ben Shapiro, yeah, he's right-wing. Okay, you can call him right-wing. That's fine. But for me, it's just not accurate. It's not an accurate political description of me.
And if it's because right-wing is used as a pejorative, can you not see how labeling people as SJWs or regressives is also pejorative?
Though social justice warrior is and I hate the term regressive because it's a stupid made up word, but social justice warrior is intentionally a pejorative. You guys took a pejorative and made it like a badge of honor. It's not meant to be a badge of honor. You guys are kind of messed up in that regard. And also, right wing isn't a pejorative, it's a description. So that's the difference. And yeah. Regressive. I don't like that word. I don't use it to describe people because it's not an actual thing. It's not a pejorative or a description. It's just an insult made by schoolyard bullies.
Rather than telling people you disagree with to drink bleach, wouldn't it be more productive for you to have an actual conversation about the issues you feel matter? Or is it just easier to do the bleach thing.
First of all, you don't get the joke. Chris Ray Gun isn't telling people to drink bleach. He's saying he wants to drink bleach himself. It's like he'd rather kill himself than listen to your arguments. Now, is it in poor taste? I don't know. I haven't ever had anyone I know killed by bleach, so I wouldn't know. But whatever. They don't want you to cause harm. They want to have self-harm. You're misunderstanding the meme. But yeah, so let's continue.
You claim to be proponents of rational, logical, evidence-based argumentation. That's great. That's entirely laudable. But when I look at your online activity, when I look at, I don't know, for example, your Twitter feed, that's often not what I see. How do you reconcile this claim to be evidence-based and rational and logical against stuff like, oh, I was just trolling you, oh, I was just shitposting, or TLDR?
Professor Moriarty. You see, there's a slight problem. Twitter has a character limit. You cannot have a reasonable discussion in Twitter, at least without making a million tweets. So it's like people don't have to be cold and rational every day of their life. I doubt you were cold and rational when you had like a bachelor party. Like what is this? Like people have multiple facets of their personality. Sometimes people are more juvenile. Other times they're more rational. There's not a flaw. That's not an issue. That's a big deal. The way I really like this guy. He's the only person in this entire video that's actually somewhat reasonable.
Seriously? What is it with you people and skulls?
And skulls are a cool motif. Lego has used skulls. Tons of Skeletor. Skulls are a popular culture icon. And besides, like, I find it funny that you choose like two people that I don't particularly enjoy. Monday Matt is boring. That other guy, I don't even know him. So like, who are these people? Like, who is that guy? Like, I don't even know who he is. And he's gonna lecture me about how he's representative of all anti-social justice.
Are you aware that the ridiculous buzzwords you helped to popularize, like SJW and cuck and regressive, have all lost whatever meaning they once had, and only serve now as casual insults and pejoratives to derail any meaningful conversation?
What has your group done? Your group has, thanks to you, racism, sexism, these things have lost their meaning. You ruined this stuff. You're blaming others for your own sins, and I'm not going to carry it. Why don't you look in the mirror once before you judge other people like me, or Sargon, or anyone else? We didn't make racism lose its meaning. We didn't make Donald Trump win. You people did. You have to accept responsibility for your actions once in a while.
Last time, what is it with you people and committing actual literal felonies? Like, you might want to work on that? I mean, I thought the Ralph retort was so rational when he was fantasizing about beating up women with dyed hair, but then he assaulted a police officer, and finally I was convinced.
So dishonest. First of all, that guy is so irrelevant, I don't even know why you brought him up. Secondly, so what? You people have gotten people fired. Social justice warriors have attacked Richard, they've attacked Milo Yiannopoulos. They've caused riots. They've got people to lose their jobs. You've done far worse than this guy beating up a police officer who probably didn't even get a good punch in. I mean, come on, dude. Get real. You're more violent than anti-social justice warriors are. And besides, you're not funny. You've asked the same question 3 times in a row. It's really clever.
In videos and in the comment sections, anti-feminists often take up the most extreme or the weakest feminist position they can find, or they just straight up misrepresent what the feminist position is. And really challenge yourself.
A condescending jerk. I do not attack the weakest and strongest arguments. We've debunked the strongest arguments ages ago. You guys just keep repeating the weak arguments over and over and over again, as if they're somehow more relevant the more times you say it, or they're more correct the louder you scream in our faces. Why don't you learn from your mistakes and actually come up with new arguments? Oh, I forgot you can't, because third-grade feminism is a lie, and so are you. This person flagged Bering, by the way. Flagged him because he was critical of her. She's disgusting.
I am deeply concerned with male addiction rates, suicide rates, and abuse rates, because I have worked with these issues in the quote-unquote real world. Would you be willing, as anti-feminists, to put aside your differences with feminists for the greater good of addressing these issues, especially as the kind of solutions needed are not necessarily gendered? And if so, I would actually like you to let me know, because I'm not fucking around and presenting any gotchas here. I actually really think that we could get something done if we work together. So, yeah.
Practice what you preach and actually start working with people instead of flagging them to oblivion. And then we can talk. Also, I'm concerned about feminism. Middle East needs feminism. Go over there and fix it. But there's no issues here. Also, Steve Shives. Oh, great. I'm actually going to answer his questions because I'm intellectually honest, unlike quite a few people in the anti-social justice warrior community.
Feminism, because I've often heard you folks insist that you have no objection to feminism in general. It's specifically third wave feminism that you have a quarrel with. So what is third wave feminism specifically? And what specifically about third wave feminism do you have such a problem with?
Explain it as simple as possible. Third wave feminism is a lie based on the ideals of the past. They don't seek to make women equal. They seek women's superiority. That's what they want. The first and second waves actually had important reasons to fight. The first wave was for voting rights. The second wave was for cultural acceptance. And guess what? They succeeded. But we got this new generation of people who want to be part of something. They want to be progressive, in quotes. So they decide to, buddy up with thugs in black uniforms and beat up people. That's why I oppose feminism, because it's disingenuous, it's cancerous, it's lying. If they didn't lie and they were just, peacefully saying stuff, I wouldn't have an issue. But when they label all white men, cis, as, racist, sexist, xenophobic, homophobic, that's the issue I have, because I'm none of those things. I'm literally not any of those things. But they assume I am anyway, because of my race. Ironically, more racist than a Klansman they are. Anyway, that's what third wave feminism is. It's pretty much 1980s onward when it comes to feminism. That's what third wave is.
Why is it that this feminist represents all feminists, but this men's rights activist doesn't represent all men's rights activists?
Whoa, wait, that's the problem. Ladies and men are different, so we're supposed to punch men and not hit ladies and open doors with men and not ladies. You hit her in my face, you tiny piece of shit.
I realize that there's no point in answering this question because ranting feminist or whoever her name is will just misrepresent me as a racist, sexist, xenophobic person, like she did with T.J. Kirk. But to answer your question, no, Jigglypuff does not represent all feminists. But she's a perfect caricature. That's the point. No one says she represents everything. She just represents all the bad stuff that permeates through third wave feminism. And by the way, you never responded to my debunking of you. I guess you were triggered or something.
Continually asked to answer for the views of feminists if I agree with feminism's overall aims, but don't agree much with those particular feminists. Does that mean that I can ask you to answer for anybody who labels themselves similarly to you, even if you don't agree much?
Look, you seem like a nice dude, and I'm gonna be honest with you. If you disagree with someone, I'm not gonna generalize you based on, like, social justice words in general. But why is it okay for people like you to label all white people inherently racist? Like, Mr. X did in the Utah Outcast. It's just kind of a double standard, really. You might want to work on that. But yeah, so maybe once you do that, people will actually respect you. Just saying.
Is it bad because they spend too much time whining and don't talk about real problems? Then why aren't you talking about those problems instead of just whining about the other people over and over and over for literally years? I mean, in the scale of priorities, that's like even lower, right? You've got the real problems. You've got the things that feminists worry about.
First of all, they don't worry about racism or sexual assault. They're completely racist against white people. And they are totally in favor of sexual assault when it's a woman raping a man. So, haha, that's not quite true.
And you've got you going, oh, how dare they? Just, how dare they have different priorities from me? Why can't they do what I do? Whine about whining. Forever. For a living. That's healthy.
What a deliberate mischaracterization of anti-social justice words. First of all, I do talk about real issues. I talked about Stephen Hawking's death. I talked about gun control. I've talked about tons of stuff. This is just a side project I do. This channel isn't really an anti-social justice world channel, but I figure I might as well do this because it's kind of interesting. So no, aren't you whining about whining about whining? Isn't that what you're doing, man? Bit hypocritical, is it?
Why don't you seem as concerned with actual feminist theory in academia as you are with wrecking people for views?
Firstly, get rid of the air quotes. We are successfully debunking, aka wrecking, feminists. Also, I don't read feminist literature because it's dry and boring. There are plenty of people who do it much better than I ever could. And I recommend you check them out.
So many of you profess to be admirers of second-wave feminism as opposed to third-wave feminism. I thought it would be interesting to ask which second-wave feminists in particular do you appreciate? Which books written by second-wave feminists have you read and found interesting? Which second-wave feminist activists have you specifically admired as you formed the opinion that you like second-wave feminism but you have no use for third-wave feminism? I'm just curious.
First of all, why do I have to justify my like for the second wave of feminism? I mean, that's not it's just a personal opinion. Like how black culture is a victim cult, or that gentrification is overrated. This is just a personal opinion. It's not particularly needs to be justified, but I really like Betty Friedan. She was an amazing American writer, activist, and feminist. And I really like her book, The Feminine Mystique. I read it. So yeah, I'm able to actually quote stuff. Can you quote anything, my dear dude? Just curious.
You do understand that reading the title of a book or an article or watching the first 15 seconds of a video is not going to give you a deep, nuanced understanding of what that book or article or video is about, right?
Yes, I am aware of that, my dear friend.
That being said, how can you expect to understand or critique feminist sources if you don't even attempt to understand what they're trying to say?
Let's say that I'm not really interested in that kind of stuff, mainly because I don't talk about it much except in this case. So that's the reason, dude. Just so you know.
Attempt to understand what they're trying to say.
Why is trying and failing to debunk a study into sexual assault the number one priority for a rational thinker now?
First of all, I think you mean trying and succeeding. And it's very rational because it's relevant to bring the truth and expose lies, which your side lies a lot, my friend.
Does it maybe say something about your priorities? Does it nah, it's fine, it's the feminazis, we have to stop them. They're taking away our video games.
They're trying to take away the creative control from actual artists, people who actually make things. And as a guy who wants to design video games in his future, which is me, I won't stand for it. I won't let these easily offended PC culture cowards censor me because they get offended over something. Like, get real. Video games are a fantasy. No need to get offended.
They're taking away our video games. Look, Anita, I'm sorry, but I can't. We can't actually destroy video games. That doesn't make any sense.
Okay, first of all, what's the deal with that phone? That's not how you use it. Secondly, they can effectively take away video games by neutering them to the point where any originality they might have had is gone because feminists censor it.
One of the major arguments that I see in many of your videos is that it is possible to separate criticism of the religion of Islam from the actual Muslim people. And yet, this line seems to be crossed very often. I see things like raghead or camel fucker or other things like that in your comment sections. I see people taking very serious shots at Muslims in videos and hangouts, and they don't get called out, at least not that I can see. So my question is this: why should a person of conscience who is concerned about the Muslim people and their community not being harmed or mistreated, why should they believe that you're actually only attempting to look at the ideas and talk about the ideas if you ignore bigotry that's occurring right in front of you? And in that light, would you be willing to break bread and salt with moderate Muslim people on your videos, have hangouts, invite them to your channels, just in order to build some bridges there and to learn more about what they think and how they feel and what their experience has been, so that information and knowledge can be furthered?
He's willing to talk to people. That's not a question. But are you advocating for language policing? In which case, no way. I'm a strong advocate for freedom of speech, and whenever I've been banned from somewhere due to false claims of, people at large, I oppose it. That's why I don't flag people's comments. I genuinely I believe people should be able to say what they want. Freedom of speech includes speech that offends. That's the point. And for your question about breaking bread, I'm willing to break bread with anyone. I just need to get my Discord to work. But just for answer, yes, that's I'm willing to do that.
That systemic racism against black people is like a thing in general. If so, what? Okay, just step up. Just cover your ears for a second and let the smart people talk. If not, why is it so much more important to you to demonize groups like Black Lives Matter than to actually use your platforms to discuss actual solutions to issues surrounding race and racism?
First of all, BLM has plenty of reasons to be demonized. They committed acts of violence against police officers and white people numerous times. Also, I do not believe that there is systemic racism that exists in America at this time. Sure, it did exist at one point, but it really doesn't exist anymore. And so, that's basic, and, people like to imply that, there's some sort of systemic racism, which is really just a stupid conspiracy theory proposed by people who are outcasts in Utah. But, that's kind of irrelevant, I would say. And it's really just a silly word game, really. Systemic racism, whatever. Is there racism around? Yes, of course. But I don't think it's systemic. Because if it was systemic, then Barack Obama would have never become president. And I know, like I say, he doesn't count. He doesn't count. He does count. Try and come up with a better argument, dudes.
If you've ever discussed or done a video about black on black crime, when are you going to do a video about white on white crime and what we, as white people, can do to solve the problems in our community?
Advocating that we do not criticize black crime? If that's the case, then you're frankly pathetic. Criminals should be apprehended regardless of their race. They should be treated equally with the blind justice that their victims deserve. And also, the reason why I don't talk about white on white crime is because it's not on the same level as black on black crime, which is over 10 times as high. But I'm still aggressive, apparently, according to some AIU skinhead.
Why is a literal teenager's different definition of racism from you so horrifying that you all have to go, no! No, we have to stop him! Debunk him now! Ah! Wherever did you...
His age is irrelevant. His ideas are terrible. And his age really only shows his level of, like, how poisonous this ideology is. Because it can poison such an innocent child into believing such bigotry. That's the problem I see with Milo.
Wherever did you get the idea that racism was a self-applied identity? And if the only true racists are the racists who self-identify as racists, how can we ever expect to make any social progress to reduce racism? Or did I just answer my own question?
Steve, you did not answer your question. In fact, I don't even think you asked a question. No one believes that racism is a self-applied label, because no one likes to be called racist. That's kind of stupid. I've literally not met a single person make that argument. Even Richard Spencer is not that dumb. And he's a whole load of crazy. So no, Steve, there's racist people in every group of people. Black, white, Asian, Latin American, Australians. It's in every group, my dear friend.
You often say that you are for equality of opportunity, but if people of color, for instance, have to overcome barriers whites do not, such as discrimination and unequal treatment, as are well documented in various studies, then how can the current situation be thought of as equal opportunity in any real way? And why do you consider it racist to discuss these issues?
I personally do not consider it racist to discuss these issues. The problem is, you people like to maintain that all white people are responsible for this. In reality, it's not. Black people have every opportunity that white people do. We cannot ensure equality of outcome. Equality of opportunity is better than equality of outcome. That's the point. So yeah, there is equality of opportunity. That's and like what segregation is there? Tell me.
Do you understand basic English syntax? Like, if I say this cat is pretty, I don't mean that all other cats aren't pretty. Like, do you really not get why saying all lives matter in response to Black Lives Matter is not only racially insensitive, but just patently ridiculous?
Are you not aware of basic English? I mean, after all lives matter includes Black Lives Matter. It's not racist, okay? All lives matter is only racist because people like you get offended at everything. That's the problem. So yeah,